Tommy X back in a video. Please all enjoy today's video. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, especially if you are new here. As I make, well, at least right now, either what ifs on the daily or what ifs every other day, depending on how I feel and depending on, my schedule because of school, among other things. But with that being said, check out my second channel down below where I post, just as much, and on other topics like discussion videos on One Piece, Naruto, and Dragon Ball related topics. But with that being said, we can now fully begin the video. In the last part, we basically ended off with Naruto being defeated by Tsuchiwado, and if you don't know who he is, well then, please go check out the last part. Well, yeah, as it will not make sense, and actually nothing that happens in this part will really make sense if you don't. But with that being said, that happened. Tsuchiwado basically defeated Naruto by sucking out all of the pain from Kakashi and basically putting it into Naruto. He had already defeated this Naruto beforehand, but as a show of honor, so to speak, if Naruto could survive, then he would let him live, and that had happened. Naruto survived, so he let him live and told Naruto where he would be, as Naruto would eventually pass out, as Sasuke and Hinata woke up, and Kakashi was in a limbo state, because it was almost as if he had been there due to him being so close to death. But of course, he would awaken, and he would actually have the, I guess you could say, White Fang talk earlier, or the Sakumo Hatake slash father-son talk earlier that we get in Shippuden, where he talks to his father. We would actually get that a lot earlier. Instead, here, as he was so close to death, he was in that sort of limbo, and basically he would come to terms with his father's death, which would really help him cope a lot, and he would really be able to, I guess you could say, heal or recuperate from that, because of course he hadn't fully recovered, so to speak. Now, with that being said, Naruto would have to heal up. How long? I say about 2 weeks. Naruto's really good at healing, but 2 weeks is enough, at least in my opinion, because Naruto was already beating him himself, and then all that pain from Kakashi and stuff. Yeah, I'd say about 2 weeks for Naruto to heal up completely, and they would be in the village for about 3 weeks. 2 of the weeks they would finish their assignment, which would be pretty easy for them to do, as they had basically already done it before Tsuchiwado showed up. But with that being said, after 2 weeks, Naruto would awaken, and he would basically want revenge. He was angry. He had it out for Tsuchiwado. Tsuchiwado literally messed him up, so to speak, for lack of a better term, as he was kind of incapacitated. He couldn't move for a few days, and his body just really, I don't know how to explain it, but it really just kind of messed up, I guess you could say. But with that being said, during the time that Naruto was out, and by out I just mean asleep, he was actually talking to the Nine Tails, or passed out, whatever you want to call it. Now, what was he doing, you may ask? Making a deal. Now, some of you may be curious. Wait, a deal with the Nine Tails? What? Now, the Nine Tails got pretty close to death. As you may know, Naruto's life is the Nine Tails' life. So, Kurama himself, or the QB, whatever you want to call him, the Nine Tails Kurama, he didn't like that. He didn't like that Naruto got so close to death, and that his life was so close to being in jeopardy. So, he decided to make a deal with Naruto, that he would never, ever bow his head or be defeated by anybody. He would never lose again. And in turn, he can use the chakra of the Nine Tails whenever he sees it fit. And also, sorry for any unexpected background noises. My apologies. That's just the situation I'm in right now to be recording. But with that being said, I shall continue. Now, how far can he go with this Nine Tails chakra? Really, not too far, okay? It's not a thing where Naruto can just, he's in a fight, pull out the Nine Tails chakra. No, it's a thing where, he's fighting somebody who's close to his strength. Okay, Naruto, you can use some of my chakra. You can use a lot of my chakra, 5 to 8 tails high levels of chakra. Now, this would really benefit Naruto, as he only actually had mastered like 3 of the 9 tails as chakra tails. So this is a big amp for Naruto going into a few fights, and he knew this. So of course he would accept the deal to never lose again. As basically that's what would happen. And Naruto would get a lot more strength, so now he was more confident to fight Tsuchiwado. And he had also done a little bit of training, trying to utilize his Kiki Genkai and thinking of other ways to use it. Because of the fact that he had only ever used it in a compact manner, like on a sword, on a weapon, or in like a attack, for example. If he wanted to surround the enemy with flames, like if he wanted to surround Tsuchiwado with flames, he would just, push flames around them, or around him to be more specific. Or, for example, he wanted flames on his armor. He would just put the flame on a certain piece of his armor or a certain piece of his clothing. It really just depended. But, with that being said, he had never actually been able to not control it. He had never just let it run rampant. It always had a target or a set area. Now, with that being said, Naruto would chase down Tsuchiwado, but without his, teammates, without his squad. And you may think that this is dumb of Naruto to do, but he doesn't want his friends to get hurt because of his actions. He doesn't want to get his friends hurt because he was so foolish that he thought he could take on this guy who he utterly lost to before. He doesn't want his friends and even his sensei to be put in jeopardy. But with that being said, he would continue to, search for Tsuchiwado, as eventually he would get to where Tsuchiwado had told him he was going to be. If you don't know where that is, just check the last part, but it doesn't really matter. But with that being said, he would find Tsuchiwado. Tsuchiwado and Naruto would lock eyes, as Tsuchiwado would smirk. "Oh, you've come back, haven't you?" Naruto would not smirk, nor would he laugh, nor would his expression change. He was straight-faced, determined, and angry, even if only a little bit. He was angry that he was bested so easily, that all of his training was almost for nothing against this guy, that such a man existed in such a foreign village. Naruto would then speak. "I'm here to fight you." As Naruto walked in to the cave-like area that Tsuchiwado was within, he would create a door of sorts. Not a true door, but he would use his blaze release to basically create a door of flames so that nobody could get in and out. Why did he do this? So that if in the case Tsuchiwado were to defeat him, then Tsuchiwado could go on to his friends and defeat them, or vice versa. If he were to get defeated, then, Kakashi, Sasuke, and Sakura could, or not Sakura, get that useless, not just plan, but Hinata would be able to get into the cave and kind of just help out Naruto. But with that being said, Naruto would start his fight with Tsuchiwado. As Naruto fought Tsuchiwado, this fight was so calm, quiet, but also angry. Almost like a controlled wild flame. Now, with that being said, Naruto had continued his onslaught. Sword cut after sword cut, he hadn't stopped. Eventually, Tsuchiwado would use even more power, as Naruto would combat this by adding blaze release to his blade, continuing to slap, slam, slash, cut, slice, and hit Tsuchiwado all over. But, to say the least, not all of these hits were actually able to get through Tsuchiwado's defense. He's a pretty strong dude, and pretty skilled too, as you may, have realized, I guess you could say. But with that being said, Naruto would continue to try to attack Tsuchiwado, and eventually he would get one decisive hit through. A direct sword hit. This hit would hit Tsuchiwado, but unlucky for Naruto, his blaze release did nothing. He wondered why. His flame had spread just like any other flame, but it did nothing. Tsuchiwado was almost immune to the pain, or it seemed like that at least. Tsuchiwado would then put a few hand signs together, as he would put his hand on the wound. He would then release a massive bubble of pain, similar to the one that he had used on Naruto from Kakashi, as he would smirk. Now, Naruto, since you've inflicted me pain, would you like to feel that pain? Tsuchiwara would then send this pain towards Naruto, as Naruto would be hit with it, even though he didn't want to be, an unwilling attack, so to speak. As before, Naruto had went face first into the pain. This time, the pain came face first towards him. But with that being said, Naruto would be fine. Naruto wondered why. Why was he fine? He didn't feel, well, anything. No pain, in fact. But with that being said, Naruto would realize something. He can't be hurt by his own blaze release. And this guy just used an attack or used pain that was caused by blaze release. So he can't be hurt by it. He would then realize this as he would smirk, now trying to attack Tsuchiwara with any sort of blaze release attack, as this may be able to get him off guard, catch him off guard even, and maybe even kill him, as he would string down flames from the left, right, behind, and even in front of Tsuchiwara, cornering him. But Tsuchiwara now reacted. He was smart enough to know what Naruto was up to, and before he had let his guard down for a moment, to see what a true attack from Naruto would do to him, as he would continue to slice through these flames, coating his blade with water, it seemed, or something else that seemed to be like water, and for some reason, it was able to kind of like, I guess you could say, not defeat his flames, but not let them hit him and not let them through his defense, as he would continue to slash them away. Eventually, Tsuchiwara would unleash his full power as he would cut right through the flames. But you can't cut through fire, at least not naturally. This would cause the flames to just re-emerge, as Tsuchiwara would rush towards Naruto, so quick that the flames couldn't reform, as he would then grab Naruto by his neck, starting to choke him out, as Naruto would start to lose air after about 30 seconds of Tsuchiwara holding him. Naruto's breath would start to become quaky, his eyes blurry, almost as if he was about to pass out. And he felt it. He knew what the feeling was, and he knew what was about to happen, but he couldn't let it happen. It was one of those situations, so to speak, or if you will. But with that being said, Naruto had one other option. He would then bite his finger, more specifically, his thumb, as blood would stick to his tongue. He would then pull his thumb out, as there was still blood on his thumb, as he would then push his thumb to his left shoulder. Kicking Tsuchiwara away with all of his might, Tsuchiwara would be flung, and Naruto would now stand valiantly with armor around him. This armor looked very similar to the armor worn by, for example, Madara and Hashirama within the Warring States. But with that being said, it was orange instead of their color, so to speak. I'll show in the thumbnail a picture that's kind of like the armor that Naruto's wearing. It might not be the exact same color, but yeah. With that being said, Naruto would then smirk. You gave me an idea, Tsuchiwara. As I had to attack you before, my flames ran rampant to catch you off guard, but they were unable to. Maybe, just maybe, if I am the flame itself, then I can defeat you with ease. Naruto would put his fingers into the rat hand seal as he would smirk. Flame would then appear around his fingers, turning it into a blackish purple color. Naruto would smirk as he would speak. Now, flame body armor, divine flame. Smoke would then appear around Naruto's body, even around his shoulders, his chest, his arms, his legs, and even a little around his hair, as his hair would stand, as the smoke would then appear to take the form of a flame, and after a few seconds, the smoke would disappear, leaving only purple flames. Naruto's body was now covered with the armor of these flames, as Naruto would smirk. Now, armor attack. Divine Armor Outrage. These flames would then start to act on their own, not by Naruto's command, but on their own, spiraling out of control as Naruto walked towards Tsuchiwado, who now had a scared look on his face. Anything Naruto had done before hadn't worked, but now it did? Why was this? Was Naruto's Kekkei Genkai just that strong? Or was it something else? Tsuchiwado then looked at Naruto. As he did not see Naruto, he saw a beast so great that he could call it a monster. A demon, even a demon fox. Get where I'm going there? This is because Naruto has been relying on a bit of the 9 tails of chakra, and by a bit I mean a lot, like 4 tails of its chakra. And if you don't know what I mean and maybe you're confused, why isn't Naruto like red and like his skin's like peeling off and stuff? Well, that's because you can actually utilize the chakra tails of, well, the QB without actually churning like that, if you will. This is shown with Killer B, who's the 8 tails, and by extension, the 9 tails should be able to do this as well. Or really any tailed beast that's above the 5 tails. Or the 5 tails itself. But with that being said, Naruto would then continue walking towards Tsuchiwado. As Tsuchiwado would unsheathe his golden hilted blade, he would smirk. This smirk was not one of pride, nor one of, well, I guess you could say excitement. Or even one of boasting skill. Or pride, like I said before. This was one of doubt. He was scared. He did not actually know if he would be able to beat Naruto. You see, he had been smirking because he wanted Naruto to feel afraid. Naruto to waver in his conviction. But this did nothing to Naruto. As Naruto would speak. You know, Tsuchiwado, when we first fought, I was at a disadvantage. Remember all those bandits I fought? Remember how my team had all passed out? I being the last one left because of my special bloodline, so to speak. Heck, that bloodline allows me to have this Kekkei Genkai. You know, I'm so thankful for it. Though, maybe it's just me, but I also feel like I have insane recovery. All that pain you dealt me, it was gone in 2 weeks. Naruto would then pull back a fist as his flames would continue to rush towards Tsuchiwado. Naruto would then clench his fist as he would gather chakra within it, then yelling out, "Now, Divine Flame Fist, attack of the Heavenly Demon." Naruto's hand would be surrounded with even more flames, as all the flames that were spiraling out of control would stop, forming into one gigantic fist. Naruto would then pull the fist back, using both his chakra and his will to control his Kekkei Genkai completely. Naruto would then speak yet again to Tsuchiwado, his greatest foe ever. "You must have control, and your control must never waver to hold a Kekkei Genkai like my own. Now, Divine Fist of the Heavenly Demon, times 10. Naruto would then grab his other fist, creating a ball of chakra, not like the Rasengan, but just chakra. Just simply chakra. He would then push this chakra towards his right arm, which was carrying that gigantic fist. The fist would then be coated with a blue-like chakra, as he would smirk. "This is what happens when you mess with the Leaf Village. No, this is what happens when you mess with me, Naruto Uzumaki." Naruto would then slam his fist into Tsuchiwado's blade, as, like I said before, Tsuchiwado had his blade out. His blade would then slowly chip away. The flames were too powerful, even for Tsuchiwado. Tsuchiwado's last-ditch effort would be to push his Kekkei Genkai, his own Kekkei Genkai, through the blade. Not his Pain Kekkei Genkai, but instead his Gravity Kekkei Genkai. This would then cause the flames to go downwards, Naruto's fist going downwards even, but it wouldn't matter. Like before, his flames were not fully controlled. Naruto merely said that you need control to wield his Kekkei Genkai, but what happens when you unleash that control? When you let it run rampant? Well, then it goes after its target, like a wildfire, like an endless barrage. This would cause Tsuchiwado to be swarmed and eventually defeated. Tsuchiwado would fall on his knees as he wondered what had happened. How had he been defeated by what he liked to call such vermin? He would actually say this out loud as Naruto would laugh. Vermin? You call me a vermin? Well, sure. I will admit, I wasn't as strong as I am now, before in our last fight. But don't you think that's a bit overkill? I barely lost to you last time, don't you think? Barely lost. I outmatched you. Sure, but don't you think I would have done better if I had all my chakra? I had just fought several thousand bandits. Either way, you are still vermin to me. I guess some people never change. Now, blaze release. Bullet. 3 balls of blaze release would appear in front of Tsuchiwado, as Naruto would ask Tsuchiwado, is he okay? Symbolic to when, well, Tsuchiwado himself asked if Naruto was okay and walked away. Naruto would then walk away, walking through his blaze release, as nothing would be seen of Tsuchiwado. No more. But Naruto thought to himself, should he leave Tsuchiwado there? Maybe Tsuchiwado could recover. Maybe he could strike again, attack Naruto even. Naruto thought about it, but he decided against it. No reason to, well, see if somebody like him's alive, if he knew he did the job right. With that being said, Team 7 would eventually return to the Leaf Village, as they would be congratulated by Hiruzen, who would basically congratulate them because they did such a good job. And Naruto would also explain who Tsuchiwado was, as Hiruzen, after hearing what he said, would mark the mission as an S-rank mission that they had completed successfully. With that being said, this is where I'm going to end the part off. Not exactly here. Basically, the events of the canon would unfold, and since this has taken the place of Zabuza, or the mission with Zabuza and Haku, basically, and Zabuza and Haku are still alive, because they were actually on this mission and actually thought Naruto, or Team 7, not necessarily Naruto himself. But with that being said, we would, get the Chunin exams. The written exams are going to go the same, with Naruto actually getting a 10 out of 10. And, with that being said, we're basically, like, going to end it off with the Forest of Death, as they would enter the Forest of Death and would basically start running through it. With that being said, I hope you all enjoy. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe button, as I would really appreciate it, and it would help the YouTube algorithm for me, of course. Check out my second channel down below, and leave some what if suggestions down below, or just check out my what if suggestions video and leave some down there. Yeah. Rami X. Oh.